It is Vladimir Putin. Hi. Russia's strong backbone of crippled world, but for 2 weeks only. We have Olympic fever! Fever! Come one, come some to Sochi Olympic extravaganza. We have some of best Olympic sport, including speed skating, curling, and bobsled sled. Plus, exclusive Russian sports, such as shirtless horseback riding and door wrestling. America's shit Olympics only have 1 gold per event. Russian Olympics have all gold.
Leader, this gold is sweating.
That is because it is working hard. I love gold. Spare no expense. Sochi Olympic costs $50 billion. Shiver in terror at Russian mounted Sean White call. Who's scared? What a pussy riot. Is going to be out of control. At which point control will be maintained by a secret group of peacemakers.
Da.
Our hotel's so beautiful, you will rub your eyes with disbelief, as did Bob Costas, who definitely did not get pink eye from our filthy pillows. But when the sun goes down, the fun goes yes, with exclusive parties featuring DJ Edward Snowden. He'll be leaking this year's hottest jams. Russia is proud to host all 4 Olympic rings. 4. There are only 4. Anyone who say otherwise is the enemy of the state.
Da.
Conveniently located between Ukrainian civil war and pack of stray dogs. And remember, no gays! Only disco.
She's up all night to the sun. I'm up all night to get some. She's up all night for good.
You're listening to Basically a Sports Show.
Follow us on Twitter at Basically Sports.
Subscribe to our podcast on iTunes.
And download every episode and more at basicallyasportshow.com.
Now here's your hosts, Zach,
Greg,
Mike.
And you're listening to Basically a Sports Show.
All right. We are started. We're rolling. I'm going to do one of my really highly professional intros to the show, so just stand by for a second. The tape's rolling. We're underway. Well, wait, now I got to do it again. The show has started. You just did it again. We are recording. The show has started. There you go. That's my professional intro. So here we are.
Oh, Canada.
Blame Canada.
Oh,
Blame Canada.
oh, my native land.
And that bitch Anne Murray, too. I don't know what you're talking about, Mike. I thought the Americans showed themselves quite well in the medal rounds, don't you?
I don't know what the hell happened to that American team. Okay, no, I take that back. I know what the hell happened to that American team. This is the end result of putting a team together based off of the dreams of Brian Burke.
Well, that's one way to look at it. I would argue that they did pretty doggone well, considering that were they expected to get as far as they did?
They
no,
got
but
place.
Well, but see, that's what the problem is. Is before the tournament, sure, you don't expect them to do a whole lot based on the process and everything that came out about that. But what's the issue is you go through the group stage and you're looking like you're the best team in the tournament. You're firing on all cylinders. You're scoring goals left and right. You do so in the quarterfinals. You look like you're the best team. You're probably the gold medal favorite. And then you run up against Canada and just get utterly dominated in every single phase. They never gained the middle of the ice. They were stuck on the boards all night. They didn't create any quality chances.
Well, we like to do things.
Played defense.
We like to do things the old-fashioned way up here in Canada. We like to choose our Olympic teams by picking the best players available.
Well, you got lucky with that this year, but we'll see what happens in 2018. But you got lucky this year with that.
Mike,
it worked out for you.
Well, yeah, it's just plain and simple. Canada was the better team on the ice that day.
But you know what I thought when I was watching that U.S.-Canada game? In the third period, I thought, you know what? The U.S. could really use Bobby Ryan.
They could use Bobby Ryan. They could use Kyle Okposo. But I don't. People have been bringing that up, and I even did just in like the heat of the moment. Yeah. I don't think it would have made that much of a difference. Canada played one of the most sound defensive games I've ever seen. It was as frustrating as it was to watch as an American, and really unexciting if you probably didn't care about either team. But it was perfectly executed by Canada. They they kept the middle of the ice protected, and I mean, basically they played the trap. How do you feel, Mike? Not only does Mike Smith now have a gold medal thanks to you, you played Mike Smith hockey and you played the trap. How do you feel about yourselves?
Before you answer that, Mike, just let me throw this in really quick. Zach said that people that didn't care about the game, and I thought, well, who in the world in our audience wouldn't care about this game? But then it occurred to me that we have listeners in England, so actually there are people that don't care about it.
No. People in England, English listeners, you should root for Canada because we're all one big happy Commonwealth. God save the Queen.
Yeah, just remember who kicked your ass, twice? World War back-to-back champions, man. You can't beat that. But anyway,
okay.
So what do you, Zach had a question. I don't remember what it was. I just ruined the entire momentum of the show.
No, how does Mike feel about being the Phoenix Coyotes?
Right, exactly.
Okay. Mike Smith has a gold medal the same way that Elvis Presley had a black belt in karate.
Well, that's a good analogy.
I mean,
I don't understand it, but I like it.
I mean, it's official, yeah, but we all know it doesn't really count.
Let me ask you this. Did he get a medal put around his neck?
He did.
Did he get to go home with a gold medal?
He did, yes.
It counts. Simple as that.
It was funny, though, because I follow the Coyotes on Facebook for...
Why?
for the lulz.
Canada Fest 2014, guys.
That's why I follow the Coyotes on Facebook. And the entire Olympics, they're like, hey, Mike Smith in Canada. Oh, the Coyotes are going to be guaranteed a medal. No, that doesn't, no, stop.
Mike Smith did exactly jack in that gold medal run.
No, did he even suit up for any of the games?
That's what I was going to ask.
No, he didn't. It was always Price as number 1 and Luongo was the number 2. He never had to suit up.
So he never even put on his uniform?
No, there were a couple games where some people even they dressed the third string goalie, but the goalie obviously never played. But they would sit in one of the games, the U.S. actually scratched Jonathan Quick, and so Jimmy Howard was the backup. But I don't think Canada even did that for Smith.
So let me get this straight. So basically, Mike Smith got a gold medal for playing exactly as much hockey in the Olympics as I did, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Well,
yes,
I mean,
that is correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's on. Okay.
The Coyotes kept claiming it as some great victory for Coyotes hockey, and it's like,
yeah. I mean,
no.
If you just follow the Coyotes Twitter, it was as if Mike Smith had single-handedly led Team Canada to victory.
But here's the thing. Okay, I played 0 minutes in the Olympics, and so did he. So I got to retract it. I don't think that medal counts after all.
Yeah.
I'm with you, Mike.
I put a post up on one of the things they put up. I don't remember the exact wording, but it was akin to if a tree falls in the forest and no one's around to hear it, did it actually happen? Like, if you don't suit up in an entire Olympic gold medal run, does it really count?
So basically, had I been in Sochi watching that game, let's say from the front row, right up against the glass, and I'd fallen onto the ice during a game, I would have technically had
more ice time than
Mike Smith, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I can't say that medal counts. I'm sorry. You got to at least do something. At least put your uniform on. Come on.
Hell, if you were in even if you don't fall onto the ice, if you're in the front row, you're technically as close to the action as Mike Smith was.
Closer. Mike Smith was up in the press box. But yeah, Canada was clearly the better team in the tournament, and it took them a little while to get going at the beginning, but all in all, they were the best team at the Olympics, and they showed it in the 2 medal round games. And really, the U.S., after they lost to Canada, they weren't totally into that bronze medal game. They came out hard, and then the Finns scored 2 goals in 12 seconds, and then they were just kind of like, oh, well,
Teemu scored.
Let's just go home. No, see, and I was super happy that Teemu scored 2 goals, gets his 4th Olympic medal, finishes his Olympic career on a high note, and that's nice. But the Americans were the best team in the tournament, and then got 4th place.
I would just say, Mike, that I am not as provincial as my fellow countrymen here, so I'm happy you guys won because if we can't get it, then I want you guys to get it. That's the way I look at it.
I'm fine with Canada winning. I was rooting for Canada in the gold medal game, but
yeah, nobody likes those dirty Swedes.
Those dirty fish pickling Swedes.
I take that back. Someone did want the Swedes to win. John Tortorella.
Oh, okay, John Tortorella.
John Tortorella went on record saying he hoped to God that Sweden would beat Canada in the gold medal game. John Tortorella?
The coach of the Vancouver Canucks, correct?
Yeah, what country are you currently employed in, John?
God, that guy is just a flaming douchebag, isn't he?
He is.
Wow.
I don't know what the his problem is. Pardon my language. I don't know what the hell his problem is with Canada, considering he's a hockey coach. How do you make a career in hockey, at least in North America, and have this degree of animosity towards Canada of all places?
It beats me.
And two, he works for a Canadian entity.
Yeah.
Not only did he work for the Canucks, he worked for TSN when he wasn't coaching.
Yeah, but to be fair, he was a huge douchebag during the whole TSN thing.
I think he's just a huge douchebag overall, but that's not a differentiating point.
I asked you guys this before. Did he win a cup with somebody?
Tampa Bay.
Tampa. Okay, all right.
The Stanley Cup is forever tainted because his name is on it. The dude he's just a douchebag who's a stain on the underwear of the sport.
Wow.
And that says something when you consider the idiots who run this league.
Yeah, it kind of does. But honestly, I did not get to see either one of the U.S. games. I missed the U.S.-Canada game, and, of course, I missed the bronze medal game, which I'm going to be honest, I got a feeling I felt the same way about it the players did. I just didn't care. Because a bronze medal to me just means that you got knocked out. And,
right.
Yeah.
And ultimately, Finland is a lot happier with winning the bronze medal than the U.S. would have been winning the bronze medal. Because in United States sports, if you don't give out a runner-up banner when you lose the Stanley Cup. You don't get a good for you pat on the back when you're the loser in the World Series, let's say.
I'm waiting for a team to do it, though.
Don't they give out championship rings?
Oh yeah, if you win the pennant and either at the National League, American League, you get a league championship ring.
And see, I don't like that.
Doesn't that go back to the days when the AL and NL were separate entities and winning the pennant for the AL or NL was seen as a big deal?
I would guess. I really don't know. Well, the Super Bowl conference champions that you get a ring too. Denver's going to get a ring. Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm pretty sure they don't do it in the NHL. You guys would know better than I do.
No, they don't.
No, they don't.
I don't think they do it in the NBA, but I am absolutely certain that in the NFL and in Major League Baseball, the two participants in the championship, whether it be the World Series or the Super Bowl, everybody gets a ring. Now, whether it's a Super Bowl ring, World Series ring, or
But do they really want those things?
Not exactly. No.
Those are holdovers from when, like when Mike said, they were separate entities. When there was the AFL and the NFL, the AL and the NL.
Let me ask you this, though. Let's say that you're a third string guy on the Broncos this year, okay? You get to, maybe you play in the NFL 2 seasons, and one of those seasons is this year. When you're 45 years old, even though it's not a Super Bowl ring, that's still a pretty nice piece of jewelry to have to mark your career. So
you can say, hey, I played in the Super Bowl.
Right, exactly.
But you didn't win the Super Bowl.
I know that Chris Collinsworth used to wear his AFC Championship ring that he won with the Bengals in the 1981 season.
Oh, that's just sad.
I don't think it is. You don't want to go around bragging that you got second place.
You're number 2.
But I also think that if you, after a 162-game season and the playoffs in baseball, if you win the league pennant, that's got to warrant something. Mm-hmm. And be honest, the Rangers' American League Championship rings were way nicer than the World Series rings that came out that year. I think what St. Louis got that year.
Yeah.
The Rangers' championship rings were incredible. Best looking championship ring I've ever seen, to be honest.
The St. Louis Cardinals' championship rings that year was probably just this giant monster of the words, "You can't stop us."
Let me look at mine and see real quick, Mike, and see what it says on it here.
Oh, God.
No, it doesn't say that on it anywhere, but...
It's just they handed out replicas of the evil ring from Lord of the Rings.
It actually does have, believe it or not, my ring actually does have, I don't know if you guys remember the squirrel that took place, the whole thing with the squirrel. It actually has that on it, believe it or not.
Jesus Christ.
But before everybody starts flipping out and hating me because I have a Cardinals World Series ring, let me explain. I'm not a Cardinals fan. I don't hate them like everybody else does, but this was a gift for me because I said a long time ago when my girlfriend and I first started dating, I would love to have a World Series ring more than anything. And the Cardinals are selling, I guess they're like replica fan rings, and she bought me one for Christmas. That's how I have it. So everybody get off my ass about the Cardinals right now. It's just the thing. That's all.
Hey, Greg, I think you can keep her around. You might hold on to that a little bit longer.
Oh, absolutely. She's not going anywhere. I mean, honest to God, though, when I opened, because I thought the box that came in, I thought she'd bought me a lighter. Because it looked like a box that like a Zippo lighter comes in. I'm like, wow. This is because usually she saves the biggest gift she gives me at Christmas for last. And she had bought, and this is crazy. I mean, I don't know what the hell she was thinking. It was 2 years ago. She bought me an iPad and this ring. So she gives me the iPad. I'm like, wow, this is really cool. Awesome, great. Wow, this is the greatest gift ever. She goes, hold on, you have one more. And I'm thinking, wait, she bought me a lighter? And I opened it, and it was the World Series ring. So it was way cool. But I don't want to derail the show with that. But just to make the point, don't start in on me about the Cardinals people. I'm not a Cardinals fan, so leave me alone. That's all I wanted to say.
But you'll shamelessly back them if they're one of the teams in the playoffs, right?
Not exactly. Last year, I just didn't care, to be honest.
That seemed to be the consensus among a lot of people.
I tried to make the argument early on because I'm a pimp for baseball. And I tried to say to people, look, it's the two best teams. Isn't that what we always want? But by the second inning of game one, I was just thinking to myself, I couldn't care less about this world. I might have watched 5 innings of the whole thing, to be honest with you. It just had no appeal to me whatsoever. It was like Giants-Patriots the second time around.
Yeah. No one cared. The rematch, or that one time when the Red Wings and Penguins played twice, 2 years in a row for the Stanley Cup. It's those rematches that no one really wants to see.
Yeah, but I don't know where we were at before that. I think we were talking about conference and league championship rings. Well, but anyway,
right.
About how the U.S.
What I'm saying is, like a team like Finland or a country like Finland, when they get in the bronze medal game, you've seen it in the NHL era of Olympic competition, just the way that they've been able to amass three bronzes. They really go all out for the bronze medal game, whereas some of the teams like, say, a Russia or the U.S. or if Canada was in the bronze medal game, they probably wouldn't have cared half as much. Just like their goal is the gold medal, and bronze. What does it matter to a country like the U.S.
or Canada? To be fair,
well, right, but
you know who else?
In America, winning is
who else wouldn't have given a crap? Russia. Russia didn't get shit.
Well, let's say, though, was it the bronze medal game again? This shows you how much I followed it. It was Finland?
Finland and us.
Yeah, so, Finland gets excited. I don't even know if they have a team or not, but let's say Germany gets in the bronze medal game. They're probably going to get fired up about it because that's uncharted territory for them, I would
Germany
assume.
does have a team. They sometimes make the Olympics. They got booted by Slovenia this time around. So
I can almost see getting a little bit excited about a silver medal because at least you made the championship game.
Well, but the thing with a silver medal is
you lose.
You win the gold and you win the bronze, but you lose the silver.
Exactly.
I wouldn't you see all these guys when they're on the ice, they don't want their silver medals.
Yeah.
They're just like, oh, okay.
Well,
after a while, you realize, okay, we got second place in the Olympics. It's still a pretty big deal, but at the time, you're like, this sucks.
I would imagine it's different for skiers or skaters or whatever because you can lose a gold medal in skiing by 1/100th of a second. So they didn't just hand it to you right after the game was over and go, hey, congratulations, you just lost.
Right. You didn't lose a ski race. You got second place.
Exactly.
Speaking of skiing, Zach, didn't the Dutch speed skating coach have some fighting words for the United States?
I don't know. I just think it's funny if he did.
He did.
The Dutch speed skating coach, his name is Gellert Enema.
Enema, nice.
That's
what he's gonna. That's his name for our purposes anyway.
It's Anema. I don't know how else you're going to pronounce that.
Yeah, let's go with Enema. I like that best.
Who kind of looks like Edward James Olmos from Battlestar Galactica.
So the Dutch, they go into the Olympics, and they thoroughly dominate the speed skating competition.
What was it, 22 of 30 possible medals?
No, it was actually more than that. I think they ended up with...
Damn, how many medals did they give out for that speed skating?
A lot. I think they had 24 total. Yeah, 24 total medals, and 23 of them came in long track speed skating, and the other lonely one, came in short track speed skating. So the Dutch really good at speed skating. And we talked about the Americans, how they had kind of the disappointing speed skating run, and they blamed the suits and all that sort of crap.
Right.
And they didn't get a single medal in speed skating this year. They got a silver in the short track relay, but I watched that race, and it was just kind of by default because there's 4 teams in the final and 2 of them fell down on the first lap. So all the U.S. had to do was not fall for the rest of the relay. And
I got to be honest. I love when they fall because they especially if they do it in a turn because they go sliding like all the way in. It's great. But
yeah, they go into the big pads. But anyway, so CNBC did an interview with the Dutch speed skating coach because they wanted to talk about, the dominance of the speed skating team, which is fine. But the Dutch coach, because he was speaking in an American outlet, felt the need to criticize us because of, that we struggled in the speed skating compared to the Dutch, who are obviously dominant. So this is what the man had to say. You have a lot of attention for foolish sport like American football. You waste a lot of talent, athletic talent, in a sport where it's meant to kill each other, to injure each other. And when you compare once every 4 years with talent with a few lone wolves who are skating, you can't beat the world. It's no way. You, the United States, is so narrow-minded. You waste a lot of good talent in a sport that sucks.
Well, let me just okay.
Shit!
First off, let me just say this. All right.
Yes.
You won the Olympic equivalent of being the best tricycle racers, okay? We're not talking hockey here. We're not talking cool sports like curling or the ski jump or bobsledding or anything like that. You won the tricycle race, so good for you. And the other part about football and all that, whatever, I don't see people, how many people watch the Super Bowl this year? 1 billion? You don't see them lining up for the Dutch speed skating finals to screw him. But anyway, I had to get the tricycle thing in there.
No, I get what you're saying.
I'll say this. When I saw that quote, that was a Joker popcorn eating moment right then and there.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing, Mr. Dutchman. And
Mr. Dutchman.
Mr. Dutchman.
Coach Enema.
Coach. Okay. So you win all these you win all these things. Oh, by the way, he also went on to to compare the way that we have such high expectations of ourselves or think so highly of ourselves in a sport, and then we lose against the rest of the world. He then also tried to compare the Dutch speed skating dominance with the dominance of USA basketball in the Olympics. He said, I think that the gold medal in speed skating is just as valuable as the gold medal in basketball.
Okay.
And we won 22, and you'll never win 22 in basketball. Okay, so
oh shit!
Here's my rebuttal. Here's my rebuttal. First off,
where's that clip from Geek Show where Reagan says we're going to start bombing in 5 minutes? Anyway, go ahead, Zach.
Here's my rebuttal to Mr. Enema. If there were 22 medals available in basketball, we would win all 22. If you want to have like a 3-point shootout, maybe we lose to a Lithuanian in the 3-point shootout or something. But if you had team basketball and then a 3-point shootout and then a relay race and then a skills competition and a dunk contest, we'd win all those medals.
I don't know. You'd have to go up against the fighting Steve Nashes.
Canada doesn't make the Olympics in basketball, Mike. Come on.
No, we don't. It's kind of sad.
No, you don't. Just for his sake. So we'll go along with his argument that we waste so much talent on our football players, that all of our best athletes go into a sport that we kill each other and waste all of our athletic talent. The Dutch got, 24 medals, I said?
Yeah.
The U.S. had 28 total, and we had them in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different sports. And that's just here in the Winter Olympics. Let's not get started on the Summer Olympics and our dominance in numerous disciplines in the Summer Games. And then let's throw in – so you mentioned the basketball team. Okay, basketball, baseball, rugby? I'm decent at rugby, I guess. Anything else you can think of that we're better at the Dutch at?
Track and field.
Stock car racing.
Stock car racing.
Yeah. I mean, there might be good Dutch stock car racers. I don't know.
So in the famous words of Austin Powers' father, there are only 2 types of people in this world that I hate. People who are disrespectful of others' cultures, and the Dutch.
See, that was more elegant than I was expecting out of you two. I was expecting Greg to be, here's my response. You, America.
No, like I said, they won the tricycling race, gold medals. Good for them. I mean, that's great. I'm really happy for them. That's awesome.
And meanwhile, in Canada, we're just going, as long as we have our hockey and curling, we're good, eh?
Right, exactly.
It's funny. The video, because I watched the video and I played the audio on my show, and he was really adamant about it. He was very serious about how he thinks American football sucks and that we're stupid for wasting all of our great talent, except that we're probably the best country in the Olympics ever, I would have to think.
I would just say this, too, about wasting our best athletes. I don't know that our best athletes all play football. I think that
Have you looked at some of those linemen?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think that a lot of our good athletes play baseball. A lot of our good athletes play hockey. They play basketball. They do a lot of different things. So,
if we really wanted to win all the speed skating medals, we would take LeBron and make him a speed skater. Like, if we I think what we should do next time around is just put a lot of effort into speed skating and win every speed skating medal.
I've got a sneaking suspicion we're probably going to do just that.
And then start teabagging the Dutch flag at the podium.
Do it right in front of the prince and princess as they just sit there in horror as their poor little Dutch speed skaters can't get the run.
Be nice to the House of Orange.
Like I said, he's getting all fired up because they picked a sport that no one else in the whole world really gives a damn about, and they dominate.
The Dutch really like Zach said, they had their royal family there cheering on speed skating. They love it.
That's what I mean. Good for you. I'm glad for them. That's great. You picked a sport that no one else wanted, and you're going to dominate it. Good for you, but that doesn't mean anything in the grand scheme of things.
Even in the summer games, I think the Dutch are pretty decent at handball, but Iceland is very, very good at handball.
Oh, Iceland really cares about their handball.
Right, and it's like, okay, handball. Like, it's funny to watch because I think it's interesting, but otherwise it's like, I don't know. What do you want me to do about it? Like, I would never see it on TV. I don't even know how many American handball teams there probably are. Like, it's just like,
well, that's
congratulations. You do something, like you said, in a sport that literally none of the rest of the world cares about.
That's my thing with the Olympics, and this both summer and winter Olympics. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, we have a handball team, we have speed skaters, we have all of this, and I think, where did they come from? I've never heard a word about the bobsledding team until the Olympics start. I don't recall seeing the bobsledding finals or the bobsledding game of the week on ESPN or anything like that. It's just
where are these American handball teams coming from?
Well, exactly. I mean, I'm sure they're out there. They're like baby pigeons. I've never seen one, but they have to exist, right?
Right.
Zach, you were talking about LeBron James, and LeBron James has a film project coming up.
Well, no, it's been debunked.
I want to get to the Mount Rushmore thing too at some point during the show, so I don't want to do it now. But I'm glad you brought up LeBron.
Is Mount Rushmore comment?
Well, yeah, I thought we could do ours, but if we run out of stuff,
sure.
yeah. So
I was hoping to talk about Space Jam 2 starring LeBron James, and apparently it's not happening. So
yeah, a rep came out and said that Space Jam 2 is not. It could be happening, but it's not going to include LeBron, at least at this point.
Well, what's the point?
I did read something where it would be where Durant would be in it, and James Harden and somebody else.
I'm sorry, but unless it's LeBron, it's not going to have near the appeal. It's just that
Steve Nash. Nash.
You think of the first Space Jam. You had Michael Jordan as the centerpiece.
Right.
And then the other guys that got their power stolen, Patrick Ewing, Charles Barkley, Larry Bird, and I think the other guy was Muggsy Bogues.
Yes.
And who was the tall, awkward white guy that they stole the powers from? Do you remember?
No, it's been forever since I've seen that movie.
Time to go to the Google.
Yeah, what year was that? I'm trying to kind of
Space Jam was 96.
Okay, so let me think. Tall, awkward white guy.
Who was good enough to be...
Do you know what team he played for?
By aliens.
Do you know what team he played for in the NBA?
Here it was. It's Patrick Ewing, Larry Johnson, Charles Barkley, Muggsy Bogues, and Sean Bradley.
Oh, Sean Bradley. Okay, Sean Bradley was like 7'6", wasn't he?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Played at Utah, I believe, in college. Why I know that, I don't know.
BYU.
Oh, okay, close enough. Yeah. I knew he was one of those Utah
Germany.
schools. Really?
Yeah, Landstuhl, West Germany.
That I did not know.
Yeah.
No, he and Dirk Nowitzki.
Sure.
But I'm glad they're not redoing Space Jam because sometimes you just have to leave the classics alone.
Did you just... Okay.
What?
Did you just call Space Jam a classic?
It is a classic. How dare you?
I was being half facetious, but Zach sounds pretty serious about it.
Going to the Space Jam.
I'm sure that movie did well.
Dance at the Space Jam.
It did fantastically.
Oh
well.
yeah, it made just buckets of money.
Well, you got the Warner Brothers characters and Michael Jordan. You can't go wrong.
It made $230 million.
Wow.
Yeah.
Which, if you think about it, isn't half bad for the concept.
Right. And the budget for it was $80 million, so a profit of
and 70 of that went to MJ.
Yeah.
Probably. But see, the other thing is, in that one, they had an out clause like, okay, Michael Jordan goes to play baseball. Okay, fine. He's out of basketball. What reason would they have to take LeBron out of the NBA?
I've got
Logical reason for this.
He's hiding from the bad defense 1990 who's finally snapped and is out to kill him.
That's too inside. We would be the only ones that get that.
Right.
But it would be hilarious to just cut from the actual movie, just cut to the scene of this deranged guy searching for LeBron James yelling about millennials.
That could be anybody in Cleveland too. So, there you go. There's your plot point. He gets kidnapped by a bunch of insane Cleveland people. That's actually not too far fetched. What was that?
The bad guys are all Clevelanders.
Yeah, there was that stupid movie. It came out back in the 90s. It was. The plot was that these two idiots captured somebody from the Boston Celtics. I don't remember.
Celtic Pride.
Was that
Celtic
what it was
Pride.
called? So, yeah, but something along those lines, I guess.
It was like the Celtics played the Jazz in the NBA Finals. And the Celtics, two crazy Celtics fans kidnapped the best player on the Jazz and hold him hostage for the final game of the series.
Yeah. Hard to believe that movie wasn't an Oscar winner.
High concept all over. But that movie's actually pretty interesting if you're into uniforms like us, because I think it was one of the last years that the Jazz had the old purple and gold uniforms. So
with the mountains on the front or just the regular?
No, the regular one, the note, before they went to the mountains.
Oh, okay. Were the uniforms accurate? Because that's the first thing I look for.
You know what movie put a lot of work into accurate uniforms that I was actually not expecting anything from? Mr. 3000.
Yeah.
Yeah. Horrible movie, but...
Terrible movie, but I did not expect them to put the amount of legwork into the uniforms that they did.
Well, yeah, and you know what? That movie, I don't know what the deal is with that, but it's playing every other day on Stars these days. I don't know why, but probably because it's cheap, and you can play it at 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Stars.
Yeah, well, it really is. But... I didn't. That was an awful movie. I don't know. I'm really good at derailing us tonight. That seems to be my thing.
But I guess we could do the Mount Rushmore thing. I mean, talking about LeBron James and Bernie Mac as a baseball player. So
you guys want to do that now?
Sure.
I watched this whole thing on. Oh God, it was somebody was sitting in for Keith Olbermann, and they were talking about it. That's how I found out about it. But I guess he caught a bunch of flack because he put Oscar Robertson on, or Bill Russell smacked him down, or something like that. I'm not even sure.
It's one of those things where LeBron tries to prove that he knows the history of basketball.
Yeah.
Because he's the only guy in the game that cares about the history of the game. And
I got to be honest. I was surprised he knew who Oscar Robertson was. I really was. I'm not joking. It shocked me that he knew who he was, because Oscar Robertson's not a guy, great player, but he played in that era before Magic and Bird kind of put the NBA where it is today, and it's just kind of amazing to me that anybody remembers him that's younger than I am, I guess, is the point I'm trying to make. But I don't know if I'd put him on there over Bill Russell, but it was cool that he knew who he was.
Around the Horn, they do they put stuff up on their YouTube page about things they talk about during the commercial breaks. And, Bob Ryan, writer for the Boston Globe, big-time Celtic guy, huge into basketball history. And he tried to do his Mount Rushmore, and the thing that he put, and it was hard to do, and which makes sense, it's almost all centers, except for Michael, obviously.
Right.
You have Jordan, but then you're also going to have Wilt and Dr. J and Oscar Robertson, or guys, Shaq, guys like that, because the really great centers, the old ones, are such dominant physical forces.
Right.
Because all you have to do is pass in the ball and they put it in the rim. You have to be someone special like a Michael Jordan or a Larry Bird to really be one of the tops in the – or, God, how could I forget about Kareem too?
Well, yeah.
Right. And so that pushes somebody else off the Mount Rushmore. You get Michael in there, and then you got to put Kareem.
Yeah.
And then you got to put Oscar Robertson, Bill Russell.
Bird and Magic got to be up there somewhere, don't they?
But that's more than 4.
I know. Well, that was the thing about it. I mean, from the controversy over it, that's 4 players. You're always going to leave someone off,
right?
Because you could really do one with just the great centers. You could do Kareem, Bill Russell, Shaq, and let's say who's
Hakeem?
another?
Did you say Hakeem?
No, but yeah, you throw him on there. I mean, who can argue with that? That's a pretty good Mount Rushmore. Or you could do all guards. You could do Michael Jordan. You could do Magic Johnson. You could do Kobe, and Oscar Robertson. So there you go. Is there really a guy that doesn't deserve to be there? You know, that's the thing about it. But
my running gag for this was going to be I was going to name like 4 really obscure old-timey basketball players, but then I couldn't think of 4 obscure old-timey basketball players.
Well, the other thing that came out of the Bob Ryan thing and why they asked him is I think he said he did like a piece for like some basketball magazine where he had to do a Mount Rushmore for every single NBA team, including the Charlotte Bobcats. And so he tried to like name it off. He couldn't even remember. Like somebody was like Emeka Okafor. It's like, well, I guess he has to be, right? Who's the Mount Rushmore? The Charlotte Bobcats.
God,
Emeka Okafor.
Just 4 guys that are starting today is as good as anyone.
Who was their first draft pick? It was like that white guy from Gonzaga.
Ed Morrison.
Yeah, he had like the 13-year-old attempted mustache thing.
Yeah,
Ed Morrison. There was the big guy from the North Carolina championship team, Sean May.
Honestly, God, with a gun to my head right now, I don't know that I could name a single Charlotte Bobcat on their roster
on the
this
team
year.
Right this second?
Yeah, I don't think I could come up with one. Oh, wait a minute. Didn't they get one of the good guards in the draft a couple of years ago?
Oh, I'm going to look up the Charlotte Bobcats roster. There's got to be somebody, right?
You would think.
Toronto Raptors, Vince Carter.
Tracy McGrady.
Tracy McGrady.
Chris Bosh.
Yeah.
Amari Stoudemire.
Actually, that's not bad.
If only they were all together on the same team, then we might have something.
Let's see. With the Lakers, Lakers would be tough. You got Kareem and Magic, obviously, right off the top.
Kobe.
I guess Wilt.
Jerry West.
Yeah, you got Jerry West. You could Shaq. James Worthy.
Worthy, Magic, Kareem, West, George Mikan.
If you want to go all the way back, yeah.
You could probably do 4 full Mount Rushmores just for the Lakers, and then the Bobcats are struggling to name a
you can't come up with anybody.
Okay, yeah, there's 1 or 2 guys I know.
All right.
Here are your Charlotte Bobcats.
Soon to be Charlotte Hornets.
Number 0, Bismack Biyombo.
Great name.
I think he's from like Cameroon or something.
All right.
Are you sure he's not a clown? He sounds like a clown.
No, he's not a clown.
Ladies and gentlemen, the amazing Bismack.
See, it works.
Number 55, Chris Douglas Roberts.
Sorry.
Number 8, Ben Gordon.
Nope.
Brendan Haywood.
I think I've heard of him.
Gerald Henderson.
Yeah, I've heard of Gerald Henderson.
These are just names to me.
Al Jefferson.
How can I not know Al Jefferson? He's on my fantasy team, yeah.
Michael Kidd Gilchrist.
Kidd Gilchrist is the one I was thinking of that they got in the draft a couple years ago.
Yeah, he was from Kentucky. He's a pretty good player. Josh McRoberts.
Yeah, sorry.
Gary Neal. Gennaro Pargo.
Yeah,
His name's actually generic. I'm pretty sure that's generic in Spanish.
Luke Ridnour.
Ridnour I've heard of, too. Where is he from?
Somewhere over the rainbow.
Okay, close enough.
He played at Oregon.
Oh, all right. Maybe I haven't. Why do I know that name?
He's been in the league a while.
Okay. Well, that's like Al Jefferson's 45 or something.
This is his 10th year in the league. Jeffrey Taylor.
Yeah, sorry.
Anthony Tolliver.
Nope.
Kemba Walker.
Kemba Walker I've heard of from UConn, right?
Yep. Anthony Tolliver sounds like a character in a Charles Dickens novel.
Yeah, exactly.
No.
But imagine if you're a guy like Ridnour or a guy like Al Jefferson, where you're in the league for your 8th, 10th, 12th year, whatever, and this is where you have to play. which I guess is still better than not playing, but not by a lot.
Still, it's like 10 years of my life, and this is where I am now.
Exactly.
The Charlotte Hornacats.
Is their first round pick from this year, Cody Zeller.
Okay. Don't know anything about him either.
Zeller is the Zeller.
Do you know who their head
name?
coach is?
No, I was going to ask you that because
we did this before.
Right.
Steve Clifford. But you are going to know who their associate head coach is.
Okay.
Played at Georgetown. Played for the Knicks.
Is it Patrick Ewing?
Patrick Ewing.
Really?
Associate head coach.
You should make him the head coach just so that you'd have somebody that people have heard of.
Okay, that one guy whose last name was Zeller. Zellers is the name of it's a discontinued Canadian big box store. So names of Bobcats players have reminded me of a clown, the Canadian version of Walmart, and a character from a Charles Dickens novel.
Well, that's not bad, really.
That is the roster of the Charlotte Bobcats to me.
So, yeah, that's your NBA report.
There you go. So we need to get Mike's Toronto Raptors update in real quick here.
Toronto Raptors still third place in the Eastern Conference, leading your Atlantic Division. Raptors
By how many
fever.
games?
God, it doesn't matter. Raptors fever. Catch it.
I love how our NBA reports always end up with us just naming names and trying to see if we've ever heard of them before.
Fox Sports 1 had kind of a big day, didn't they, Zach?
They did. Last Thursday, when we last recorded, Fox Sports Live, they had a very good lead-in because it's their first week of full NASCAR coverage. And so they had what did they have? They had the NASCAR duels on Thursday night. Duel at Daytona. What is the duel at Daytona, Greg?
The duel at Daytona?
Yeah,
it's a qualifying race that they have. I want to say about like 20 cars. Anyway, they race, and where you finish determines where you're going to start the actual 500.
Right.
Is basically what it is.
So Fox Sports Live has the duel as its lead-in, and the duel got a audience of 3.1 million people.
That's not bad.
Over on ESPN, SportsCenter had Duke, North Carolina as its lead-in. Duke, North Carolina only got 2.2 million viewers. So the live coverage, Fox got a win there. So then those lead into their nightly highlight shows, Fox Sports Live and SportsCenter. From the 3.1 million that watched the duel, another 2.2 stayed on to watch Fox Sports Live, whereas the SportsCenter only got 1.1 million viewers.
Wow.
So for the first time since its inception, Fox Sports Live beats SportsCenter in the ratings.
And they're not even a year old yet, are they?
No, and it's the other note that they have here, their previous high was only 522,000. So Thursday's numbers beat the previous record by 335%.
I just want to emphasize that for all of you people out there who claimed when Fox Sports 1 started this venture that they were going to be doomity doomed. Obviously, that is not the case.
Well, I think the thing that really helps, and they just had to tread water until they got to this calendar year.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Because now they get the NASCAR coverage. They're going to get the baseball coverage.
Yep.
I think next year they're going to get the PGA, the U.S. Open coverage. So because they had to live out the end of the year with the contracts they had with the leagues.
Right.
But once the calendar rolled over, they were allowed to split their properties up onto their Fox Sports channel. And now they're going to have more live sports with better lead-ins for these highlight shows and other programming. Now, their daytime programming is still balls. Their daytime shows are terrible. And Fox just hasn't cut any of them because what are they going to replace it with? They have nothing else to replace it with.
Right, you got to put something on the air.
And one of the shows, the Crowd Goes Wild show, Regis' show, I don't think Regis has been on in a little while. I haven't seen him in any of the video clips.
I still don't understand why he's there.
His name.
I don't either.
I
think he's done. I haven't seen him in a while. I think he's done there. They poke fun at themselves all the time, like, well, nobody else watches us, so who the hell cares? They just kind of go with it. But yeah,
so long as Fox Sports 1 keeps This Week in Punting, then I will be a fan.
Yeah, no, they're still alive and well. So yeah, it's one thing, But Fox Sports Live beat SportsCenter, and they pulled some ESPN talent away today. Colleen Dominguez, she's a reporter on, a field reporter from SportsCenter.
Right.
Worked in the West Coast office. She moved over to Fox Sports 1 today. So they're finally stealing some more ESPN talent. They already got Carissa Thompson and Mike Hill. They moved over there. So now they got Colleen Dominguez. Very, very good reporter. And easy on the eyes. I
don't know that they were planning this win over SportsCenter, but first off, if you are a Fox Sports 1 supporter, don't get terribly excited about this. It was just like Zach said. It was just a matter of timing. I think that this victory over SportsCenter came a lot sooner than they expected it to. Mm-hmm. But if they were smart, and I'm thinking they probably were, if they get the NASCAR audience to come over, they should have covered NASCAR quite a bit to keep them coming back.
They got Dale Jr., after he won the 500, he was all over all their platforms the next Monday or Tuesday. He went on the Fox football show. He went on their MMA show, and he went on their Fox Sports Live show for the full hour. So,
but yeah, but like Mike was saying, there were people that when it came out, they were expecting, like if they didn't beat SportsCenter in the first month, they were doomed. Well, anybody that knows anything at all about the business, this is a 5-year thing. You're not going to know a whole lot about where they are inside the first year, but this is a great bit of progress for them to do this, to pull this off. So they're in great shape already. And like Zach said, with the better live sports and the better scheduling and stuff, because NASCAR will draw the viewers. Now, whether or not they will cross over into the other sports remains to be seen, but they've got that going now, so they're going to be okay, and they're not doomed at all. They're going to be fine. Do you guys get it up there, Mike? Do you guys get Fox Sports 1?
No, we don't. No, which means that we don't get Jay and Dan.
Jay and Dan, they sent. It was so funny. They sent Jay and Dan over to the Olympics.
Okay.
To cover, but the problem was Fox didn't get high enough credentials.
Oh no!
So they couldn't film. They couldn't use their cameras inside the Olympic Park. So they spent 2 weeks basically making stuff up. and they had a very funny segment, because you know how NBC has a stranglehold over the video from the Olympics.
Yep.
So every day they had their segment. Yesterday in Olympic still photography. So they would talk about the highlights as the still photos kind of did their Ken Burns effect across the screen for like 5 minutes. So and they did stories about the stray dogs. And, they had a good time with it. So that was very entertaining.
Did you guys see that College Humor video, Vladimir Putin's Olympic commercial?
No, I didn't.
No.
I saw the link, but I didn't watch it. Yeah.
The best line is at the end. Come to Olympic, located between Ukrainian civil war and pack of stray dogs.
But I mean, speaking of NBC and the Olympics, NBC had record lows for their Olympics this year.
The scheduling was terrible.
Right.
It was just awful.
Well,
how long does NBC have this contract to air the Olympics in the United States?
2022, I think.
That sucks.
But here's the thing, and it was smart by everybody else, but NBC played this terribly. So, the things are happening while we're asleep, and I knew this every single morning when I woke up. I had at least 6 or 7 notifications from my ESPN mobile app telling me who won the events. Mm-hmm. So basically, all the other competition, they were basically blitzing NBC's coverage. They were letting everyone know who won, because when they do the tape delay things for the primetime, I can live with it if it's like 2 or 3 hours. But when it's that completely opposite, and it's like 12 hours, it's even longer for the West Coasters, because they don't show the primetime thing at the same time here or in the East Coast. You're waiting like 12 hours. And so I already knew that Shaun White fell on his half-pipe run. I already knew that Bodie Miller missed the medal stand. I already knew that the figure skaters won the ice dancing gold. I had no reason to watch except for I wanted to see, okay, well, maybe how'd they do it. But
the only way you could really watch the NBC primetime coverage was you had to make a concerted effort to ignore everything until it came on.
Sure.
That was the only way.
They showed a lot of things live, but if it was going to be in the primetime coverage, they did not show it live.
Yeah,
which is different from what they did in Vancouver, where they showed everything.
They had that. They had all the other media outlets, just like you said, just giving everything away. And I found out on the app that they had, the NBC Live Extra app, that you could, like, say that they had curling on at 8 in the morning and I didn't see it. I could go on at noon and hit it and replay the whole thing on my iPad. There was no need for me to hang around until prime time if that was something that I wanted to see.
Their primetime coverage had a dip, but they did say that their media exposures, which include the apps or online, saw a 1.4% rise over the Vancouver games.
Well, that's just because there's more, what's been, 4 years now, so all that stuff's way more advanced than it was even back in 2000, what would have been 12? No,
10.
10, sorry. 10. Yeah,
right.
I'm a liberal arts major. I'm not so good with the math thing.
Yeah, and the closing ceremonies for these Sochi games, they had an all-time Olympic low with a 3.2.
Well, my girlfriend, the two things she tunes in for, besides the hockey and the curling, is the opening and closing ceremonies. And she watched the opening ones, and then the Sunday night, I said, "Are you going to watch the closing?" She's like, "Nah, I don't care." I just think that between all the ice skating and very little else, they kind of hurt their overall audience for the primetime thing. I just think there was too much ice skating and not enough. I understand that ice skating is your bread and butter. I get that, but there's too much of a good thing, and I thought they were just too much with it. Yeah. That was my issue.
The big number is in the 18 to 49 demographic, the key demographic, the one that makes the money. The average for the entire 17 games of the Winter Games drew a 5.5 average. It's fine, but Vancouver was a 6.6. Even the games in Torino were a 6.1. And I know these are a lot of numbers and probably don't mean anything to people that don't know how TV numbers work or care about TV numbers. But that's a pretty big dip, for especially something as high profile as the Olympics.
Well, and with the money they pay for it. And here's the thing, too. You see, this run of the Olympics sets up the ad rate for the next run of Olympics.
Right.
So the last thing you want is a drop like that, because that means all the prices are going to come down. So now you've got all this money invested, and you can't go to your advertiser and say, "Look, we had a 6 in the games before this one, moved it up to a 7." You've got to go in and say, "Well, now we're down 1.5 or whatever," and that's it's a big. Without getting too deep into it, it's just a big thing where the returns on their investment will keep diminishing if this keeps happening.
From everything I have not heard a single positive thing about NBC's coverage in the United States of the Olympics, and I have to think that it's on NBC's end. I don't have the numbers at my disposal for CBC's coverage, but from what I saw, it was pretty extensive.
Well, does CBC do the tape delay primetime like NBC does? Or do they show everything as it happens?
They show everything as it happens, and then they show everything as it happens, I believe.
See, that's the thing, and I mean, I understand NBC is trying to produce it so that they can get the highest ratings possible. And this was just a terrible situation for them based on the location of the games and the time zone issue. And it does, kind of confirm something we talked about. It was difficult to watch these games. Compared to ones in the past.
There was nothing on in the prime time. Rarely did I tune in during prime time, even on days where I knew nothing about what had happened that day. There still wasn't anything on that I was terribly interested in. And, you're aiming for the women, but in order to get the big numbers, you got to get everybody, not just the women. And
exactly.
Big drop.
A new network launched this week.
The WWE Network.
That's right, Mike.
Oh, is that right?
Did you have your experience with the WWE Network this week?
I did not, because it is not available in Canada.
Are you kidding?
Oh, it is not. Canada loves wrestling. How is this not available in Canada yet?
Canada loves wrestling, but it is not available in Canada. It will be available in Canada and Europe late this year.
Wow.
What is the story with why you guys don't get all the good stuff up there?
As far as the WWE Network goes, I'm not sure. I have to think they wanted to limit the impact of everybody rushing to log into it when it first launched, because they were having problems as it was with just the United States. I imagine if they added Canada on top of that, their servers probably would have exploded. But I'm actually insanely jealous because, one, it's a great deal, $9.99 a month, and you get the pay-per-views for free. So
really,
yeah. So that's thrown in. So you're essentially paying $10 a month for pay-per-views, whereas previously they're between $40 and $60.
Right.
So $10 for a pay-per-view is not bad. Plus, every previous pay-per-view ever produced by the three big companies, WWE, WCW, and ECW. So you get all of those pay-per-views, and they're going to be adding all of the weekly shows. So at some point in the future, you'll be able to get every WWF, Raw, SmackDown, WCW, Saturday Night and Nitro, ECW, Hardcore TV. So in terms of content, it's a fantastic deal. I'm frustrated because I'm like shaking my wallet at Vince McMahon going, I want to give you $10 a month. Why won't you take my $10?
Here's my money. Take it, please.
Pretty much, yeah. I'm like, I want to have this experience, but I unfortunately cannot. Apparently, there are ways that you can go online and kind of apply, download programs to your computer to trick the WWE network services into thinking you're in the United States, but I am not nearly tech savvy enough to do any of that at the moment, so I am holding off on the network until, unfortunately it comes out in Canada.
Now, is it on TV too, or is it just an internet thing? Can I get it on DirecTV or the cable, or is it just
No, it's kind of like Netflix is kind of what it is.
All right.
You can get it through your internet, there's an actual website you can go to get it, or you can download it through your iPad or your PS3 or PS4 or Xbox.
All right. So basically like Netflix then.
Yeah. I mean,
wow.
It's causing a bit of a stir. Dish Network just went off and decided, hey, we're going to stop carrying WWE pay-per-views. Because WWE sort of went off on this venture without consulting their cable partners. Now, the DirecTV, Dish Network, all these cable companies who carry their pay-per-views are like, you're essentially telling your consumer base to not pay the $60 to us. It's causing a bit of problem, but honestly, the pay-per-view industry's been dying for 20 years. It's just that nobody's realized it.
Do they still do pretty well, or?
They still do pretty well, but it's gotten to the point where in the 90s, it used to be that the majority of a wrestling company's income came from pay-per-view. Not anymore. Now it's TV right. Now WWE is kind of a mini NFL in that the majority of its profits come from television rights. They've got their two main shows, Raw and SmackDown, and then they've got their two B-level shows, Main Event and Superstars.
Okay.
And what they do is they go to a network. They're currently signed with NBC Universal, and they say, hey, these shows get consistently high ratings. Give us hundreds of millions of dollars for the rights to put our shows on your network. And those profits and the ad profits, those are the major money makers. So even though pay-per-views remain profitable, it's not the major source of their income. So I can see why they're doing it, essentially giving pay-per-views away for free, not free, but basically $10 a month.
Well, you got to think, too, but like a guy like me who's not, obviously not as big a wrestling fan as you guys are, but I hear $10 a month and I go, that's not bad.
I mean, it does it comes with a 6-month commitment, so there's that. But at the same time, and the thing about it is that it has a bunch of it has loads of old content, and the old content's just going to be added to it as time goes on. So if you're not even a fan of the product today, if you were, say, a fan of the product 15 years ago, then it's still kind of worth it because you can log on and watch those old shows and those old pay-per-views, and you pay the $10 a month for that. And then if you're kind of interested and you say, oh, like WrestleMania's coming up, and I already have the network to watch this old stuff, I'm essentially getting WrestleMania for free, so maybe I'll watch WrestleMania.
Well, see, this is my next question about this, and this is the important question. Can I go on and watch Undertaker matches specifically?
There is a search function where you could just type in Undertaker, and it will just spit out every major pay-per-view that Undertaker has performed on.
Well, I just might have to put $10 a month towards this because, as I told you before we started the show, the Undertaker is, and I'm not even going to argue this, so don't even try, the greatest wrestler of all time, bar none. Period. End of subject. That's it.
I am not going to debate you on that. But if you get the WWE network before me and it is completely within your power to do so at this moment, I am going to be insanely jealous because, God damn it, Vince.
Well, I'll tell you what. If I do, we will figure out a way so that you can hone in on it, too. I'll set you up somehow.
Awesome. Thank you.
But, Zach, I notice you're mysteriously quiet while we talk a little wrestling here.
Well, I mean, I just felt that you guys needed some time to sort that one out.
But it's interesting in that they're actually following a model that MLB set up, I believe.
Yeah, with the MLB at Bat app and all that stuff. Yeah. Uh-huh.
This whole thing's interesting because I mentioned how the WWE makes the majority of its money off TV rights. Well, their contract's expiring with NBC Universal, so they're renegotiating, right? And they haven't come to a deal yet with NBC Universal because apparently, to anticipate the loss of further pay-per-view revenue, they're essentially asking for an NFL deal in terms of money from a network.
I don't know. I mean, I know how popular it is and all that. I don't know that they quite have the clout.
It's not worth NFL money.
Right. I don't know if they have that kind of clout.
Most definitely not. So that's kind of where this thing could bite them in the ass, in that they're essentially giving away pay-per-views for $10 a month now. And at the same time, they're asking for an amount of money that no major network is going to give them. So
the thing is that they're not going to get NFL money, but if they shoot high and get more than what they're getting now, that'll still be a step in the right direction, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah, it will be. Vince McMahon has delusions of grandeur, and even though the WWE is kind of a hot property, the ratings alone kind of guarantee that it gets a respectable amount of coin, I guess. But at the same time, Vince McMahon, I think, tends to overestimate his own importance.
Nah. We got anything else for tonight, gentlemen?
I mean, there's little bits and pieces, but nothing too interesting. Jameis Winston went 0 for 2 against the Yankees as Florida State played in a spring training game. Russell Wilson suited up for the Texas Rangers, did not play for the Texas Rangers. The Rangers basically said that they're not going to take a chance. Like, he's there, he's going to have a good time, but they're not going to put him in any of the games.
Yeah, I don't know that would be the best for Russell Wilson's contract or for the Seahawks or anything else. But
this makes me wonder why Russell Wilson even wastes his time by going down there, except for just having.
Maybe he just really likes baseball. He's just really happy to be there.
I know I would be.
He'll play as much as Mike Smith played, so.
Like I said at the top of the show, Mike Smith played exactly as much Olympic hockey as we did.
Did last year, did we talk about the Marlins president who said he was going to skip the rest of the season and go on Survivor?
I think we did.
I remember.
He got eliminated on the very first episode of Survivor. So
good, because
that worked out for him.
I don't like him. Good, I'm glad.
I don't know. To be fair, I don't think the Marlins would be any worse off if their president just wasn't there running the team.
Well,
I think he wasn't there even when he was there.
Just kind of sleeping at his desk.
Yeah. The anti-gay bill that was going to cost Arizona the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
vetoed,
good.
As everyone thought it should have been.
I will just say this, and really I think that unless you guys want to keep going on about it, but I just think at this point that if you've still got an issue with the whole gay thing, that's your problem, not ours, so you need to go figure it out and just get over yourselves. That's what I think.
What the hell, Arizona?
Yeah.
That's the thing. The governor was never going to pass it, but I don't even know how the hell it got to the point where she had to make a decision on it.
Because
I mean, a similar thing like this was being discussed in Kansas, but it got killed at the legislative level. It never even got to the governor's desk.
But see, that's the thing, though. The stories like this, they've got legs, man. Whether you agree or disagree, you will watch to follow what's going to happen. So that's how it happens. It's just
and from what I understand, I guess my grandfather tried to explain it to me. Because he has more knowledge of the Arizona politics than I do, I guess. All these state senators and representatives or whatever, they don't want to be at risk of alienating their base.
Yeah.
So they just vote for it because they don't want to be the guy that didn't.
Right.
So then the governor has to put it down. But
right. It's really kind of gutless when you think about it. I mean, theoretically, yes, they represent the constituency, but some things are wrong whether everybody in the majority thinks they're right or not. And this is one of those things. And you need to have the guts, you need to have the balls to stand up in front of your constituency and go, look, you guys, okay, I hear you. I don't get where you're coming from, but this is wrong whether you think it's right or not. That's what needs, but it's never going to happen, obviously.
I just, when I think of Arizona state politics, I just imagine that they're all like rich cowboy oil barons or something. Like, that's just like the thought.
this isn't the first time that Arizona's been like caught up in something like this. Because I mean, you have a few years ago when the All-Star game was there for baseball,
right?
And they had the Hispanic
immigration
and the Martin Luther King Day with, I think it might have been their first ever Super Bowl.
Right, in 1990, they got the Super Bowl taken away from them because they didn't recognize Martin Luther King Day.
But that's
it's just. It's
Arizona.
It's a little too far along now to see that Arizona has a pattern.
Right.
What's going on, Arizona?
That's the thing, though. These legislators need to do, and I'm going to say this again. You've got to just. I think if you're not willing to stand up and go, you're all wrong, and I'm not going to vote for this, even though you think I should. At least come on and say, look, if one of you can come up to me and show me definitive proof of how someone being gay has any direct effect on your life, I'll consider this. But until then, shut the fuck up. Because it's just idiotic to think that I don't know. It aggravates the hell out of me, but I'm not going to get on a big soapbox, but it drives me nuts.
I just think that someone needs to pull Arizona over and send it to and have a nice long talk and like, Arizona, we need to talk about some things.
Well, Mike, I know how the Canadians like to come down to. Do you guys want it? We'll make a deal with you.
No,
we
don't want it.
All right,
they don't even support their hockey team, Greg.
Oh, that's true. What am I saying? Well, that's the thing, though. Make it part of Canada, they can make some sort of law, and then they'd have to go.
Make a law.
Right.
You were required to go to one Coyotes game a year.
I don't know. See if Mexico wants it back.
I don't know. They might. I see. There's not really anything there.
It was originally Mexican.
Right. I thought maybe
Mexico.
I was just I always joke that you guys don't have a Florida to go to. Well, see if you took Arizona off our hands, you'd have one. It works out for everybody.
The Suns can become the Seattle Sonics.
Right.
The Coyotes can become the Seattle Sasquatch, and we'll find some place to put. Hey, we'll put the Diamondbacks in Omaha, Montreal, and you know what? We'll give another one to you, Canada. You can have the Arizona Cardinals in Toronto.
There you go.
Ooh, you know what? I'd actually be down for that because the Cardinals are my number 2 team. So
well, I'm just saying, Canada or Arizona becomes a Canadian province. They can leave everything right where it is. I would just say move the Jets back to Winnipeg again, just to piss everybody off.
Or
back to Phoenix
Jets.
again. Move the Winnipeg Jets back to Phoenix again.
Have Winnipeg Jets A and Winnipeg Jets B.
Hey, why not? You had 2 Rough Riders. What the hell?
And the final thing that I have is LeBron James broke his nose a week ago.
Yeah.
So he played his first game. He plays first game back, and he has a terrifying mask.
Oh, good. I love those things. You got a picture?
Yes.
Ooh, that's a really good one.
Yeah, right.
It's great.
Probably one of the best ones I've seen.
I think it's the best one I've ever seen.
I'm sharpens, heightens each sensation.
Like, he's either Fan of the Opera or Batman. I can't pick which one.
Either way, it's way
he's
cool.
Black Fan of the Opera. Just now imagining a black Fan of the Opera. It's blowing my mind, man. It's blowing my mind.
It'd be great. I'm for anything that upsets the normal balance. Anything.
If you scroll down into the comments of that article, you get some interesting things. But I'll leave it at that. Yeah,
wait, hold on. Oh, I've got to read this one just because of the first sentence. In a darkened alley, a grandmother, lost, finds herself cornered by 3 gang members. One pulls a knife, another motions for her purse, the third eyes her up and down with a lascivious glare. The group approach. Oh, I'm not reading all that. It's a whole damn thing.
Yeah, don't read that, because there's one especially that just makes me feel bad.
Someone photoshopped a picture of a ball gag into his mouth, so he looks like a gimp now.
That's yeah.
I like this. Looks like he's decided to take his talents to Gotham City. That's not bad.
Either way, he's ready for Comic-Con.
Yeah.
Here's a good one. The Bane James.
Miami, take back your basketball team. The court is yours.
Looks like he decided to take his talents to Gotham City or the basement of an LA pawn shop. Nice Pulp Fiction reference there. Very good.
Yeah.
Very
nice.
Commenters
are quite witty sometimes. Sometimes they're dumb. Other times they're very witty.
Are we done?
Yes,
I think we're done.
I believe so.
Okay, then remember, follow us on all of our platforms.
Next week, our show is going to be the day after NHL trade deadline.
Ooh,
so
that'll be good.
We'll have stuff to talk.
I know
Ryan St. Louis wants out of Tampa.
Ryan Miller, there's a serious talk he's going to get traded, which comes way too late in the season to help my team. But what are you going to do?
Yep, that's right. The CHL kicks back off, and some interesting games. I'm playing Kansas City this week, Mike. So I'm trying to help us both out.
You got to win. You got to put those bastards in their place.
The clash of the Titans.
I think if I lose, I'm eliminated.
Are you serious?
I think if I lose, I don't make the playoffs.
If you lose, yes, you are. Thunder Bay needs to win this week to stay in.
Things are getting interesting, huh?
Yeah.
I think I'm officially out at this point. I think.
Yeah. But you know what? You had a fantastic run.
You really did. So.
No, I'm not out of it yet. We've got what? How many games do we have left?
2 games left.
No, I'm a game and a half back. If I win out and Baltimore loses out, I'm in, guys.
Oh, well, hey. Still alive.
I will tell you this. I'm 10-7-2 right now. If you had told me when we started this that I'd have 10 wins and I wouldn't have 25 losses on the other side of that, I would have told you were nuts. It's been a lot of fun. And this is ridiculous. This just cracks me up about myself. My favorite sport, as everyone knows that listens to the show, is baseball, right? Yep. What do you think my worst fantasy sports team is?
Baseball.
My baseball team, by a long shot. It's not even close. I'm terrible at it.
I guarantee what you do with baseball is what I thought I was going to do with hockey, is you probably overthink it.
I must, yeah.
Yeah, because I thought I was going to just think too hard about the hockey team and try to get deep dives on guys that you've never heard of. And then
that's what I did. That's what I did in baseball. I was like, hey, so and so here, I can really. But
your expansion draft was hilarious, Zach. Atomic Adam being like, hey, you want to pick one? You can't rush greatness.
Hey,
you wouldn't post a pick. You just post to inform us that you were thinking about it.
I am very, 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 very proud of my Toledo Gold Diggers. It's been a hell of a season. To even be in the playoff race at this point is just amazing to me. And just to show you how ridiculous fantasy sports are, the sport that I follow the least of any of them is basketball, and my team is just dominating in our league. Not even close. I think I'm 13-2, and the next closest team's 3 games behind me. I don't know shit about basketball.
But, Greg, you're currently tied in your CHL game this week, and Baltimore's losing. So there is a real chance that you make the playoffs. We could have an all-Bass Orr Cup Finals.
Hey, yeah, I'm not going to get there. Who are we kidding here? But
you never know.
I mean, if it comes down to Zach and I in the West, and then if you get in, you'd have to beat Hamilton, which you've already done this year.
You know why I won't get in the playoffs? I'm going to tell you why. Because I'm dumber than all get out. I forgot to start Darcy Kemper tonight. Not only did he win, he got a shutout. Oh. And I forgot to start him. That's why I won't make the playoffs.
Oh, Greg.
I know. I don't even want to think about it.
No. I mean, it's not just you, C-Rich, who's running Baltimore. He left Logan Couture on the bench.
Really?
Yeah, and he scored.
Couture was injured before the break, so maybe he didn't think he was ready yet.
No, he said he forgot to take him off IR, and he scored 2 goals.
Well, you see
that's good.
What happened with me tonight as I came flying down here with at 5 till 7. Because I'm like, oh, shoot, I forgot to put my hockey lineup up because I'm not used to being back to playing because of the Olympic break. So I came down and I just quickly, he, filled all the slots, and I didn't even think to look at the goalie spot. So I didn't, but would have been the difference. I mean, a shutout, that's big points. Probably puts me over the top. Oh,
and supposedly Steven Stamkos is coming back next week. So that'll be a big boost to my lineup.
I forgot to check.
For the final week of the season, and I'll need it. I've already played you twice, right, Mike?
Yes.
Okay, so we
split the series.
Oh, I'm playing LA. I'll be okay. Even with messing up the goalie thing, I'll still win.
Who do I play? Greg, I get to help out you next week. I play Hamilton.
Excellent.
So
what are the standings? I don't think I can come in first.
Oh, well, yeah. No, okay, never mind. But
if anybody's got Baltimore, you have to beat them for me.
I've got Brooklyn this week, which I'm winning, and then next week I've got Kansas City.
Oh, see, now you need to. Okay, we control the destiny of the West, Mike.
Yes,
you and me.
If we beat Kansas City in consecutive weeks, then we have an all-Bass Western final.
All right,
coolness.
So I'll do my thing, you do your thing, and I'll see you in the finals.
See you in the finals, and then we can have the rubber match because we split the regular season series.
Yeah, well, I'll be fully healthy for this matchup, so I made a victory.
I think the best I did against you guys is I tied you once, Mike, right?
Yeah,
you beat me.
I did?
Yeah, you beat me 7-3-0.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Actually, you beat me both times, 7-3-0 both times.
I did?
Yeah.
Wow.
That was during Zach's period where everyone on his team got injured.
Oh, wait, no. I'm reading this backwards. I beat you both times, 7-3.
I was going to say, I don't remember beating you. Yeah, I thought the best I did was I managed to tie Mike once. But so that's what's happened with my basketball team. We were dominant, and this last couple of weeks, I think I've got 6 guys with a little red O by them.
Oh,
but I've already clinched the playoff spot, so I'm not going to make any panic moves just yet because I'm already in the playoffs. They're like, well, home court advantage. I'm thinking that makes no difference at all in fantasy sports.
I'm up 7-3. On Kansas City through 2 days. So
Toledo tied Montreal the first go around, and then we all kind of licked our wounds and we were brooding. We're like, next time Toledo, we'll make you pay, and then we won like 9-1.
Did they ever make us pay? Yeah, it was rough. That's the worst beating I took all year, so I hope you feel good.
I'm not going to lie, I kind of do.
Beat up on the slow cousin of the league, sure. That's a real big victory for you there, Mike.
No, the slow there are other teams that qualify for the slow cousin.
Are there ever? Jesus.
But I will say I have enjoyed the hell out of fantasy hockey. I thought I'd be terrible at it. I'm actually pretty decent at it, and man, it's really fun. I really like it.
Greg's got this Rain Man thing going to fantasy hockey.
Well, you said at the beginning of it all, you said, you're going to accidentally win the league, and I'm like, yeah, that's ridiculous. I've actually got a shot at doing that.
Yeah?
Not a good shot, but it's still a mathematical possibility, which is...
Greg's going to win the whole thing, and everyone's just going to be sitting here bitter.
I'm mathematically still alive, but like I always say, being mathematically alive is like your girlfriend telling you she wants to see other people. It's over. So anyway, follow us on all of our platforms. Let's see what we got here. iTunes, Stitcher, Podomatic, Spreaker, YouTube, and, of course, the email address is basically asportshow@gmail.com, which I forgot to check today.
Oh.
So
if you email us, we'll get to you next week.
And don't forget, Basically a Geek Show, the latest edition, the big runaway hit in the Basically a franchise. So.
Basically a Geek Show. We usually record on Friday nights, but I am helping people move, so we will probably record on Saturday. So
there you go. Any final thoughts, Zach?
None.
With that, we're going to call it a night. We will see you all next time.
See ya.
Bye.